G'day, legends, and welcome to the Celtic Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me tonight are Liam and Sean. How are you, Liam?
Good. New Celtic tops arrived, as you can see. I heard a wee bit of Hollywood news this week that was interesting, though. Sean Connery, legendary Scottish actor and apparently Celtic supporter on occasion. Turns out he didn't die of old age. He got a bookcase from IKEA. He was building it, and the bloody thing fell on top of him. His last words were, "I blame my shelf."
Boo. I seriously need to get a boo sound effect, mate. I'm telling you. How are you, Sean?
Yeah, good. It's a bit weird, this kind of state of national mourning that we're in for Olivia Newton-John. It's very confusing for someone from Scotland. I've got a teaser for you to start with, if you'd like.
Go on.
Okay. What's roughly 6 inches long, has 5 letters in the name, and begins with a P?
I'll leave it for you, Liam.
I don't know.
A jobby.
Anyway, we'll move that along.
We'll leave it up to you, dear viewers, to decide who told the worst joke there.
Disgraceful start to the episode, so we'll just crack straight into the usual stuff. Why everyone's here? We've had a good bit of growth on the Celtic Down Under podcast recently in terms of subscriber count and on both the podcast and on YouTube. So I want to first of all say thanks to everyone who subscribed. Really appreciate that. If you haven't done so, what's stopping you? Hit that button, subscribe. We really appreciate your support. Other than that, we've got our social media accounts. So Facebook, we've got a page and a group. Instagram, barely use it, but that's just when we share our podcast in there as well. And on Twitter, at Celtic Down on both of them. And you can find us on our YouTube channel, obviously, which is where the majority of you are watching right now. So, yeah, we'll crack on to the podcast. We'll start off with Celtic 3, Ross County 1. Now, Liam, I'm going to throw to you because you made your debut on our crossover. So what we've done is we've partnered up with the Celtic State of Mind podcast. So on match days, it's going to be their match day coverage. It's going to be on our Twitter account, going live, and on their YouTube channel. Now, we'll be appearing. So some weeks, there may not, because of time zone differences, there may not be someone from this podcast on the match day. Other weeks, like this weekend just gone, Liam was there for the Ross County game. I was there for the one against Norwich in the preseason. So we're going to try and do that a bit throughout the season. So hopefully Sean and John can get involved in that as well at times. But yeah, it's good crossover, and it's good to be working and partnering up with one of the really big boys out there in the Celtic fan media sphere. Bunch of good people. So we appreciate that, and yeah, you're on there, Liam. So first of all, how'd you find the match day coverage? And second of all, give us your thoughts overall on the game.
Well, when you prepare to do a podcast or a YouTube broadcast, the one thing you're worried about is technical difficulties. Didn't have any of those with Axom, but Celtic TV had quite a few. Between finishing up the halftime coverage for Axom and getting my stream back up, because obviously I was running my Celtic TV and my streaming off the same laptop, I ended up missing Kyogo's goal, and then the Celtic TV coverage cut out, so I missed the Ross County goal as well. And it was about maybe 10-15 minutes before that finally came back up. And the funny thing was, actually, at half time, Laura from the Axom, she called it perfectly. She said, we need to switch out Maeda for who was it came on again? Sorry.
Abada.
Sorry, aye. We need to switch out Maeda for Abada, and that's exactly what happened, and it worked out exactly. The games like that show character, and they show show league winning form, and I think it's when you look back on a long hard season, it's games like that where you're not sure of the result with 5 minutes to go and you end up running out 3-1 that really matter. And also there was an important psychological point as well. Rangers went 2-0 up in their game when we were winning 2-1, and that meant they would have drawn level with us on goal difference. But then us getting that wee cheeky third goal just keeps us that wee bit ahead of them, which I think is an important psychological edge, because I want to get into my first game against them with us above them, even if it's only on goals.
What was your thoughts, Sean?
I had a bit of a nightmare. Try to watch it live as well. It's, worse than Liam, in fact. I was pretty stocious because I'd been out for a bucks earlier as a stag do people in Scotland. So I was watching the first half at the sports club, and I was like really struggling. So I got in a taxi at half time up the road to watch the second half. Missed the first 5 minutes of the second half, so I missed the Kyogo goal. And then obviously Celtic TV does what Celtic TV do. And then by the time it was getting to midnight, I was like I fell asleep and missed the last 10 minutes. So I had to watch that the next day. Wake up in the morning a bit hungover, like, Alexa, what was the Celtic score in the Scottish Premier League? Celtic beat. And I'm, oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, who scored the goals?
Yeah, I think we all had a bit of a nightmare, to be honest, getting to the game, because getting coverage of it, because like my stream didn't even work in the first half. Like I got the last 5 minutes of the game of the first half. Don't know why. And then, yeah, I saw Kyogo's goal. As you guys have said, Celtic TV did its thing. And yeah, after that, I was just like, I'm that pissed off. I'm going to bed. It's too late. It's late. I'm angry. There's no point. I went to bed, wake up, 3-1. Happy days. So
Yeah. Same, mate. I was expecting to wake up to one each, and then when I found it 3-1, I was like, yes, yeah, beauty. So it was a really good, there was apart from the performance, it was kind of what we all expected really beforehand, wasn't it? It was Ross County trying to play in the wings. It was them packing the box full of players otherwise.
Packing the box and trying to hit us on the counter up the wings. Yeah. That's what I was expecting.
And even set pieces, like they score the goal. Maybe we could have done better defending that in a couple of phases. But we've done a pretty good job overall defending those, so hopefully it's just a one-off. But for me, the person that won the match, I know everyone's saying Moritz Jens scores the winner, but for me, the person that wins the match is Joe Hart. At one each, he had absolutely no right to save that free kick. I do not know how he saves that. Like, when that goes through that wall, like, that is absolutely in the goals all day long. And then I don't know how I've watched it back like 4 or 5 times, and I still don't understand how he's reacted that quickly, and not just reacted quickly, like basically held on to it. Like, I don't know what's going on there.
Funny thing on that, Sean, what was one of the big criticisms of Joe Hart before he came in? We signed him. He's no good going down to his left to make saves. And where did he do that at? Down to his left. Saw that, and straight away, that's what popped into my head when I was watching the replays and everything later on. Just like, yeah, there goes that idea. But yeah, so overall for me, let's look at it. What was the cream of the crop for the goals? For me, Abada's one was unbelievable. Jens' goal, great delivery. It's good to have a target man, a big guy in there who can finish. We've missed that since Julian hurt his knee. The first goal, Kyogo doing Kyogo things. He comes in, and when he puts that in, he goes to the near post on it, where he's got very little margin for error, and he slots it. But then you get him some other games where he's got wide open goals, and he just shanks it. So it's like, I'm like, I don't get that, but I suppose it's when you don't have to think, you just on instinct, it's a lot easier. But that was my thoughts. Anything you guys want to add about the goals?
Yeah, but the Abada one was like, it's one of those ones, like, it doesn't look like it's in until he starts celebrating. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so far outside the post when he hits it. You're like, he's just put it wide here. So, good effort, just wide. And then the net's moving and he's away celebrating. You're like, yeah. And that Jota celebration as well was pretty special for the first goal.
Yeah, I think the the other interesting point is that has us now scored 5 goals in our first 2 games, and it's been 5 different goal scorers. We have got goals all over the pitch right now, and that is a really good thing.
We've got options. You got to love it. So, any particular players you guys want to single out here? Sean, you've just touched on Joe Hart. Anyone else we want to specifically mention or throw to you, Liam?
Well, I would second the Joe Hart one because that is the game-changing moment. Absolutely world-class goalkeeping. And Moritz Jens, on his full debut, that's just exactly what you want to see, is just getting in there, getting the head and goal. And hopefully, he had a couple of wee shaky moments, but it's going to take him time to build up a partnership with Carter Vickers. And, if he continues to develop the way that he has in the last couple of games, it's when Starfelt comes back, which is probably only 1 or 2 weeks away, Ange's going to have a big decision to make.
Yeah. And obviously we have to mention Jota as well, who 3 assists. However much credit you want to give him for the assists, that's still pretty impressive. And he had a good game overall as well.
I've got a couple of comments I'm going to bring up about the game here just quickly. So, talking about Jens there, Stranger of the Doctor, that decides to come up. Lord, won't you buy me a Moritz Jens? Seeing that, and you don't want to get that caught in your head just yet, but it's good to see he's already got a song. Michael Ross here. Liam, you touched on the 5 different goal scorers, 2 centre-backs scoring. Hope Starfelt's watching.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's still not scored, has
he? Then we've got another comment here. No. And then we've got Vanessa McCormick. What does the panel think of Maeda? Yes, he runs all day, but I don't think he's very good technically. Liam, was he the same in Japan?
Okay. Well, first of all, yes, he does run all day. His engine is unlike any player I've seen before. Technically, he is a lot better than we're seeing at the moment. The difficulty is that he's adjusting to a new level, because when he played for Yamaga, when I used to go and watch him in person, he was the big fish in the small pond. And he absolutely ran. That team relied so heavily on him, it was unbelievable. It was to the same extent where, I'm not comparing him in terms of ability, but in the sense that Henrik Larsson could elevate a bad Celtic team to get a good result. Maeda could elevate a very, very poor Yamaga team to get results now and again, because he was that much above the rest of the team. Then he stepped up to Yokohama, which at the time were the best team in the country, and the question is, well, can he cut it at this higher level? And he did. And now he's stepped up a level again, and I think he's doing well, but he has much better technical ability than we're seeing at the moment. He's still settling in. He's still trying to understand his role, because he, with both Yokohama and with Yamaga, he was kind of given a free role. He could roam across the front 3, kind of like Jota does with us now. But with Celtic now, he's playing a more regimented, set position. Him and Jota do switch from time to time, but it's much more, no, you're the left winger, that's where you play. And I think he's taking time to adjust to that. I would say give guys in 5 or 10 games and see how he is then. I think he'll be all right.
I'm what interested. You're saying there, Liam, I'm just going to... You're touching on what he's done in Japan. Now, what I'm going to go on is, when I've seen him play for the Japanese national team, he seemed a lot more technical because he's got a bit more freedom, and also because they're not playing against two blocks of a block of 5 and a block of 4 players in the box. So I think that's part of it as well. When he's playing for the national team, he's got a bit more freedom, because speed is more of a factor, because he can get in behind guys. And he could do that in Japan as well. When I watched a few of his games after you told us when he was at Yokohama, we're not seeing that at the moment, because we were at Ross County on the weekend, basically 2 slabs of 5 in front of the box. Teams are sitting that deep, and it's hard. It's taking away his biggest strength, which is his speed, when he's able to counter-attack. And he's got space to run into. So I think we'll see more technical ability from him when the field opens up. So when we're playing a Rangers, when we're playing against a Hibs, a Hearts, that sort of thing, that's where we're going to see a bit more probably than we're going to see against guys like Ross County and Motherwell and Killy and all that sort of stuff in St Mirren. What were you going to say, Sean?
I was actually going to say almost the same as what you said, Jared, but rather than using the Japanese national team as my kind of model for my answer, I was going to talk about what I'm hoping to see from him when he plays in Europe. And the same kind of idea. Like he stands out most against these low block teams. His strengths, not strengths, but where he contributes most significantly is in closing down those defenders, harrying them, and also most of his goals, going anecdotally, I've not checked this up, seem to be coming from just kind of scrambles in the box, and he's just kind of moving about a lot and getting on the end of a loose ball, that sort of thing, even if it's just like a back post header. So it seems to be just his persistent movement in the box. Sometimes things fall to him by perseverance rather than by technical ability. But as you guys said, maybe when the game opens up a bit in Europe, we might get to see a different side to that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
What you're saying there, Sean, as well, though, I think that also applies to a bit to Kyogo. Because when teams are sitting deep, he doesn't have the physicality, the size, but when you've got space, he plays a lot better. So, yeah, we'll see that overall there. But there's a couple of signing rumours, and Michael Ross has beaten me to one of them in the comments here. Thoughts on Alex Collado? Is he what we need? For me, he's a right winger who can also play in the 10. So he'll, at the moment, what have we got outright? We've got Abada as the backup with Jota playing out of position. Realistically, I think Jota's better on the left. So you've got Jota, you've got Abada, and you've got Forrest. Do we need another guy who can play that position? Probably not. But the fact that he can play in the 10, I think it's a good spot for him in terms of, well, we had three guys there in terms of Turnbull, O'Reilly, and Rogic last season. If he comes in as a different sort again, then that could be an option. But it depends, because it's going to be a loan. And I don't like loans at the moment. I'm loving these whole loan to buy things. What are your thoughts, Liam?
See, I think that we're at a point now where Celtic have basically filled in the gaps that needed to be filled. We've got a good centre back in. We've got cover at left back. We've got enough forward players. We've got replacements for Beaton and Rogic, I believe. What we're looking at now is potential. I don't want to use the phrase luxury players because that gives the wrong impression, but players who will enhance the squad but don't actually have a set role. And someone like Collado would fit that, because he's a player who would definitely enhance the quality of the squad and is one that we could deploy in a variety of positions. We're going to get injuries over the course of the season, and you need to have guys that you can deploy in. Because immediately I'm thinking, if Hatate's out for more than a couple of weeks, Collado potentially comes in. If Matt O'Reilly gets an injury, he comes in. God forbid, if Jota got injured, he could come in there as well. There's a variety of positions he could fill.
Plenty of options there, yeah.
Yeah.
How old's this kid?
I'm looking it up right now, so you want to give your opinion while I'm looking it up?
I believe he's 23.
23.
23-year-old.
Well, actually, the fact he's still
on loan. Das, Olympiacos, and Girona are apparently interested in him. He's a left-footed player, most comfortable in the number 10 position in the right wing. So basically, he's the opposite of Jota. Jota is a right footer who likes to play left. This guy is a left footer who likes to play right and come back inside. Makes sense.
Is Girona and the Olympiacos, are they City group? Or is that
Olympiacos
Getafe?
isn't.
It's Getafe? So, I get it. Anyway. Yeah, no, 23 maybe. Because only if it's loan to buy, to be honest with you. If it's just loan for loan, then no, not interested. Obviously, we had some success bringing in Jota as a winger on loan, but then we've had so many other failures like Charlie Musonda and Daniel Orzani. And that's why I was kind of asking his age, because those examples were guys that were a bit younger and a bit more raw. So I think maybe that 21 to 22, 23 is maybe got a better chance of success. But again, unless we have an option to buy, what's the point in us developing someone for Barcelona just to turn a profit on next year, especially when we're well served at that position.
Look, the Aussie in me is going to come out right here and say, you back off Daniel Arzani. He just had he had a shit run of it where he blew his knee out on his debut, and he's never been the same since. However, he's part of the City group, and the Victory fan in me over here in the A-League is like, suck shit. So it doesn't bother me.
He's signed for MacArthur.
Yeah,
MacArthur FC. I think he made his debut last week or 2 weeks ago.
Playing under Dwight York as the manager.
Is that right? Oh.
Yeah.
Did they win the league last year, MacArthur? I think they did.
No.
Did they not?
No, it was West Ham United.
Oh,
the other one.
That's right. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway. So that's one rumour. The other rumour, Ross Barkley from Chelsea. Everyone, if anyone thinks that is going to happen, put the Kool-Aid down, stop, turn your computer off, go sit in the naughty corner outside and just breathe in for a bit and just have a 10-minute timeout. As if we could pay him. He's on 100K a week wages. So put a line through it. We're not Sevco. We don't just, bring in 400 grand a week players from Juventus and, have all sorts of shit happen. But Barkley's someone I always liked at Everton, but I think the move to Chelsea was a bad one for him. He would have been better off going to somewhere like Man United, in my opinion, but apparently the talks are he's going to go back to Everton anyway. So that won't happen. If it does, though, what can I do? I don't know. I was going to say I'll sing some weird song on this podcast just to embarrass myself. Won't happen. He's not signing for us.
Yeah, file that one under Aaron Ramsey, I guess. Don't think there's much to that, especially after we've signed Aaron Moy. It's really be cancelling out that signing, and James McCarthy would just be delighted,
We don't need Aaron Ramsey. God, I'll miss a penalty in a European final for half that money.
Yep. So that's the two signing rumours. Now we've got a couple of other little things to discuss here. So the news here, and Celtic Appreciation page in the comments, he's put a couple of comments in which ties into the next one. Do you think it was pre-planned that Harry Kewell will always take John Kennedy's place in the setup? Do you think that Kewell is always going to replace? So we had the comment come through. We're going to talk about it because the rumour is that John Kennedy could be on the verge of a stunning Celtic exit to become the new boss of Danish side FC Midtjylland. Now, apparently, their manager there got sacked after 14 months in charge, and a certain former player of ours called Eric Shevchenko has put in a good word for him, and he's trying to get him to go there. Do you think it's time for Kennedy to move on? Especially with Kewell coming in, we've got someone who can be assistant manager. Kennedy moves on, he gets his big step up at a decent level too. Do you think that's a good move for him, first of all, Sean? And do you think it's the right time for him to leave Celtic? What are your thoughts there?
It's not the right time for us, for him to leave Celtic. Is it the right time for Kennedy? I mean, he's 38 now, I think. I think I read that today. Do you want to go abroad? Look what happened to Sean Maloney at Hibs. He dodged a bullet there, John Kennedy, didn't he, by not going to Hibs? I'd say you definitely got a better chance of getting a better crack at it at a team like Midtjylland than you would at Hibs, for sure. Expectations are very variable with a team like that. And you're also in a kind of league where teams don't really spend big on players, so I'd say that being a good coach would have a more significant impact on a team. It's not like you could put any manager in charge of Celtic and Rangers and they're going to finish top two, just because of budget reasons, and that's not really a thing in the Scandinavian countries. Definitely not right timing for Celtic. Would need continuity, I think. But is it right time for John Kennedy? I'd hope he sees an opportunity to stay until at least we're done with the Champions League groups before he thinks we're going.
Just before
gonna-
you say anything, Liam, I just want to
Yeah.
get anyone watching on YouTube, appreciate that. Let us know your thoughts on the whole John Kennedy situation in the comments as well, so we can discuss that a bit further as well. But over to you, Liam.
Right. Well, I think that it's been known for a while now that Kennedy does see his future as a manager of his own team. But with Ange doing what he does at Celtic, that's not going to be at Celtic any time in the next few years. And perhaps, although no kind of formal agreement was reached, maybe they had a word in the summer and they said, look, Harry Kewell's going to come in. We'd like you to stay, but if something comes up you want to pursue, then we've got cover in the coaching area. I think it's a case of Celtic kind of covering all their bases by bringing in Harry Kewell, because a guy like Harry Kewell, with his experience and his knowledge of the game, and the fact that he's a fellow Aussie as well for Ange, is going to enhance the backroom team, whatever his role is. But he also has the experience that if John Kennedy did leave, he can step in and become the full formal assistant. So I think it would be a good move for Kennedy's career, because the Danish league is a league, as Sean said, if you can get a team to do well in that league, it shows you're a good coach. And that is where a lot of good coaches have cut their teeth initially. There is also the idea that 38 now, you want to be, if you're going to become a manager, you want to get into a job probably before you hit 40. So he's probably got about another year or so after this before he makes the jump into full management, if he's going to. And I believe that's what he's always wanted to do. I mean, in his mind, he's probably always dreamed of becoming the Celtic manager. But like I said, that's not going to happen in the near future. So I think going to a club like Midtjylland, which in their own league are a massive club, is going to be good for him. And Eric Sviatchenko, as you mentioned, I think he's the club captain there. A big influential figure, would definitely be a good benefit to Kennedy in terms of getting his philosophy across in the coaching side, to have the captain of the club already on side and already shouting for him.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. We've got a few comments as well here, but before I go to them, just want to touch on something. Midtjylland, they work off that, like, I think they're linked with, was it Brentford or something like that? So that's a lot of the Moneyball analytics and statistics and stuff like that. So recruitment, because of finances and that, will be taken care of for him, and he won't have to worry about that too much. So it'll be more just focus on the coaching. So I think that's a good league and a good club in a way for him to start with and establish himself. And as you said, if he's got the captain on the side, that's always a good start. So Strange Love the Doctor has said, if Kende was to move into management, a job in one of the Scandinavian leagues would be great. We agree with that. Glasgow Rebel, the Danish side is still in the European qualifiers. What could be a big carrot to dangle? So that's another thing I hadn't even thought of. Which then ties into what you said, Sean, about he needs to stay with us for Champions League, because, but then maybe if he wants to go and manage, take on the job and become the manager and actually be a head coach at a European, whether it's in the Europa League or whatever, then you can't hold him back on that. And then Vanessa McCormick, time for JK to cut the apron strings and move on.
One other thing to think about as well is he might want to take like Darren Day and Stephen McManus with him, or Gavin Strachan, and so it might not just be losing John Kennedy; it could be losing 3 or 4 backroom stuff.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, Jared, he's the reason why the Scandinavian League might be more attractive is primarily you're a head coach, and from as much as we all love John Kennedy and how much he's given to the club, like, the guy doesn't have much charisma. Like, is he maybe just a natural coach and not a natural manager? Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have that kind of Brendan Rodgers, Andrew Postecoglou, Gordon Strachan kind of level of charisma that you might
aura about him.
Yeah, and just exactly. Like, to just command a room, you know. I've not seen that from him, to be honest. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've not seen it. And he had a bit of chance to show that when Neil Lennon got sacked and he was the caretaker for 3 months or whatever it was, and he didn't win an away game. Do you know what I mean? Like, so he didn't exactly raise the standards in that time.
So we got a comment here. Where Sean and Kendo would make a good combination.
It's an interesting shout.
Yeah. I mean, it might well be that Maloney is at work, so maybe I'm assuming he's still at work. So
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's been linked with a few other jobs. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. For me, if we're gonna lose him, I'd rather lose him early on in the season rather than middle of the year or whatever. So if he was to leave now, fine, whatever. We never stop. Next man up. Who do we put in there? But if he's going to take a bunch of guys with him as his backroom staff, then how does that gut our backroom staff and the academy? So we'll get there though. There you go. Glasgow Maloney is at Burnley helping company.
let's just start the rumours now. Who's the most recently retired Australian international? Is it going to be Craig Moore? Is Craig Moore coming in?
We'll bring Tim Cahill in.
Tim Cahill. There you go. That makes sense.
Oh no,
Tony
sorry. We
Fox.
need a defensive coach. We need a defensive coach. So who could that be?
Tony Vidmore.
Let's get Lucas Neal.
What's Popovich doing right now? What happened to him after he left?
He's at Victory.
Is he Victory? Oh,
Yep.
He'd come from Victory, surely. Yeah.
You're gonna cop it from Shane if he's watching. That's all I've got to say. Anyway, we'll leave that one there. So watch this space thing. We'll see how that all plays out. Now, this one I'm going to throw to you, Sean. We're going to use your local knowledge.
Oh yeah.
Lee Griffiths, Mandurah City FC in Western Australia. What division are they? A second tier or a third tier over there?
There is only 2 divisions of State League,
Okay.
and they're in the second one down. So
So
just to
in
kind of
Calton.
explain
Yeah.
to people in Scotland, you've got your National League, which is all of Australia, and then there's no relegation from there or promotion. That's just like a fixed league, kind of like the American systems. And then you're one down from the National League is State Leagues, and in WA we have 2 divisions for State League, and it's not the biggest setup, to be honest. So if you're not in the Premier for the state, then you're going to be. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not the most.
So basically, we've got the A League, which is the top league, which is national, which is what you said. Then in each
Yeah.
state league, you've got what they call the NPL, which is National Premier League, and they all play off. So that's like your state league, your top division.
Yeah.
And then there's another tier under that in Western Australia. Is Griff's team in the NPL, the state league,
Correct.
or the second tier?
It's the State League. It's not the NPL.
So he's in the third tier. There you go.
To give you an idea, the stadium that Lee Griffiths is playing in, I've played on that pitch.
Wow.
There
So
you go.
are we talking about probably a similar size of club to like a Scottish second or third division team, maybe?
No, much smaller than that. It'd be more like Forest Mechanics or something like that.
All right. Not the
So-
Highland League.
Highland
My
League,
whole,
yeah.
my whole take on this was, well, he's coming out. He's playing 2 games. It's the end of the. I've written. So I've got a question from James Murphy about this, and he's like, "On the move ties in well with the final few weeks of the A League off season. This will put him in the shop window down here for the clubs looking to finalise their rosters for the upcoming season. So realistically, if he comes down here, does well for 2 games, proves that he's doing something, even if it's third tier, he's in the country, you may get a couple of clubs that are looking for strikers at the A-League level who'll go, you know what, we'll take a chance on him. And I think that's what he's looking at, because realistically, I think he's run out of options in Scotland, and I thought he'd end up down in Australia or he'd end up in the MLS, because I didn't think he'd go somewhere they're not gonna speak English. So yeah, I reckon more than likely. I know Perth are looking for a striker, but then Vanessa in the comments has gone, do we think Griff will join an A-League club? As a long-suffering Newcastle Jets fan, I'd love to have him in our team. I think that'd be a perfect fit for him, because he'd be the sort of main striker there that you guys need up at the Jets. Because trying to remember the name of the guy. There was the Irish bloke they had. Was it O'Donovan or something like that? It was their last quality striker who would score a bunch of goals in season. So they've really been missing a focal point for a few years, and he could play that role for them. And I think he'd love living by the beach, bit of a sea change. He it was funny though when he first signed for us. I remember this. He didn't want to go make a move back down to like when he was at Wolves, wasn't it?
Mhm.
He was on loan at Gibbs. He wanted to stay in Scotland. He didn't want to go back to Wolves because he wanted to be near his kids. And now he's coming all the way over here. So is he going to be bringing all his kids over here, or
Well, I mean,
was he going to have the Griffiths, Australian posse?
the thing is, there is the possibility that whatever treatment he's been having for his mental health and addiction issues, he might have been told, go abroad for a year or two and clear your head. I mean, that is quite a common recommended therapy for certain types of people. So
yeah.
But I heard that he's just here on holiday or something, and he's just signing up for just to have a kickabout. Because like Mandurah is that kind of, it's the city outside of Perth kind of thing. So if you're heading south, it's the kind of first city you hit. So you're not too far from, you're like 45 minutes from Perth.
So it's coming for a wee jolly. There you go.
It kind of seems like that, like, because it's not like if he was going to sign for a good team, there's other ones like you go to Joondalup or something, but you wouldn't go there like as, do you know what I mean, for a holiday. Like we sometimes call Mandurah Meth Andurah, because of the kind of characters that it attracts. But it's also away from that coastline. There is also full of retirees as well. So it's really a city of retirees and crackheads, and like, not even joking. And look, I love going down, to be honest, for a bit of a piss up. We do like that journey down there.
You could see a sea down there as well.
Yeah, and they've got a good Scottish bar as well. Yeah, it's I don't think I would say he's probably on holiday there and just wants a kickabout, and they've had to do, because of the way the registration works here, he's had to do an international transfer certificate in order to play for them. So that's he's probably not even getting paid. What they do get paid, something like $200 a game, stuff like that. That kind of level. But I'd be surprised if he's doing it for anything other than just he's here already and having a kickabout. Because when it came up on my social media that he'd signed, I was like, oh, this is a piss take. Because teams do that down here. Like, my team did it when Lionel Messi was a free agent. Like, we put a post up saying we were signing Lionel Messi. It's like a normal thing to do down here. And I was like, oh, ha, ha, ha. And then, like, it came up in the actual news. I was like, wait, what? He's actually playing for Mandurah? What is going on here? Like, that's the kind of level. Like, I assumed it was a joke.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, Torquay, my dad's old club, did that. They released a big press release saying they were signing an international player, someone who'd been capped over 100 times for their country, a world-renowned star. And everyone was like, oh, is it Bebeto? Is it Romario? Because they were all about 40 at that point. It would have worked time-wise. It was Neville Southall. He played like one game, and then that was that.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, like, Griff's coming down here. He's no longer a Celtic player, but for me, he scored over 100 goals for the club. He 40-goal season. He was there a while. That's the only reason I'm discussing it. It's because he's coming to our country and he's a former Celtic player, so it ticks both the Celtic and the Down Under section. That's why we're talking about that. Strange Love the Doctor is, I don't really care. As long as he's not at Celtic, I'm fine with it. Good luck or whatever, Griff. Edinburgh folk are always a bit weird. Had to show it because of that last bit. I'll take your word for it, mate. But yeah, so we'll leave that one there. Just want a quick shout out to the Celtic women. 9-0 win against Hibs. Centre, another Aussie at Celtic, getting a hat trick. Top effort. Haven't really done much recruiting, lost a few players, and they've still gone and done that. And considering 2-3 years ago, Hibs was one of the big clubs in the league, as well as Glasgow City. That's a good effort from the girls. So let's see how they go over this season. I think trying to win the league has got to be the goal, but I don't know. I think probably need some players in. Yeah, Celtic Colts through in the Challenge Cup. You want to discuss that, Sean?
Yeah, it was an impressive win, to be honest. I just kind of caught the highlights, but 2-0 down at Coatbridge, playing Albion Rovers, League Two team, and they came back to win 3-2. Goals from Rocco Vata, Bosun Lawwell, and Owen Moffat. Apparently, it could have been more, despite being 2-0 down. Apparently, it was quite a comfortable win in the end. And that's them now into the second round of the Challenge Cup, where they're going to play Livingston B. So I wouldn't bet against them making the next round after that as well.
We'll see how it goes, but yeah, good luck to him, and good to see the young boys that you said there who scored the goals. Like, they're guys that we've been talking about potentially making a step up this season into the first team squad. So it's good to see him getting it done at that level and being like the main men at that level, but then also still we've got that pathway that we're talking about to bring them through. So yeah, glad to see that result.
Yep.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing the Celtic B team when I go over to Scotland for Christmas. Actually, they're playing Rangers B between Christmas and New Year, so that'll be a good wee day out.
So you need to get down there, Liam, with the flag behind you and just like give it a wave.
Yep, will do. Will do.
All right. So was it on Sunday? Actually, I got it on Saturday on the list, but I'm double checking. I think it's on Sunday fixture. We got Killy. So it'll be the first game for a lot of our guys going down that plastic pitch, isn't it? I think it's an away game. Yeah. So what are you hoping to see in the game, Sean?
I'm hoping to see some entertaining football. Not much chance on that pitch, is there? I don't even know much about Kilmarnock these days. To be honest,
Just trying to get the squad up.
I know they signed Kerr McInroy from us. I don't know if he's been playing or not. But apart from that, I'm not really. And with Derek McInnes being the manager, I guess we kind of got a rough idea what to expect based on how he used to set Aberdeen up against us. But I'd say it's going to be a lot like playing away at Livingston, the same way. Yeah, strange love saying it here. You know, it's going to be a bit dire, and it's So the best we can kind of hope for is that kind of 3-1 away win that you get against the likes of Livingston. And look, there's something to be said for being able to tactically and mentally do that. It's not something you can just do as a given. And we've been scoring headers, centre backs in recent weeks. It's always a good route for getting a goal in these pitches. So I'd say, yeah, I think it's actually going to be 2-1 to Celtic. And I can see a defender scoring. Yeah, I'm not sure if Stephen Welsh will be back in the team or not, but yeah, I could certainly see there being a headed goal. Maybe Giakoumakis. I could actually, after kind of recent form, I wouldn't be surprised if Giakoumakis starts.
So I'm looking at their squad at the moment, and defender Lee Hodson. They've signed Dylan McGowan, the Australian. They've got, you keep going through the squad here, and there's a bunch of guys there. Like, you got Ash Taylor as a defender in there. Kyle Lafferty's there. Jordan Jones is there. We've got a bunch of guys who will play real physical, the typical McInnes style sort of thing. For me, I'm happy that it's a 9 p.m. kickoff. So over here, so I'll actually be pretty happy with that. Yeah, be interesting.
Sunday or Saturday? Is it Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Sundays. Honest to God. These kickoff times.
So Sunday, 9 p.m. over here for us, which is decent. We'll take that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I don't really care too much in terms of that it's a plastic pitch, right? Like, it is what it is. It's a shit situation. I think all plastic pitches should be outlawed. Shouldn't have them. However, I think we've got more than enough talent and ability in our squad that, we should, as you're saying, Sean, I'm thinking we'll win 2-0. I don't think it'll be anything more than that. But yeah, it's just about getting the 3 points at the end of the day and not making sure we don't pick up any injuries.
The biggest surprise looking at that squad is how little it has actually changed since before they got relegated. The bigger, just looking at it, the big question really is, does Alan Power get a yellow card or a red card from the game? And I guess it depends on who the referee is. Has that been released yet? Is it Don Robertson again? Don't be Don Robertson again.
Probably.
Yeah, it's going to be either 1 or 2-0 to Celtic, and it's going to be an utterly dire, boring, turgid game, because that's what you always get with Kilmarnock.
And plastic pitches.
Oh God, I hope they get relegated again. They're just a horrible wee club, horrible wee stadium, and just horrible fucking, just horrible generally.
We missed a chance. Like when they were out of the league, we could have voted to get rid of plastic pitches because we would have had an 11-1. But we I don't know what, we're just sleeping on it, and they didn't get it voted through in time, and or didn't even think about it. I don't know, whatever. And now there's 2 of them again, and maybe if Hamilton come back, it'll be 3 again, and whatever. Like, we need to deal with this, man. It's embarrassing, man.
It wouldn't have passed last season because Rangers would have voted against it out of spite, like they always do anyway.
This is true.
Yeah.
But if we want to sell our game, we need to improve the product, and part of that's playing it on grass. It's like these plastic pitches are brutal, man. They might be better than bad grass, but they're not as good as grass.
Yep. I think it's going to be an interesting one, but yeah. So starting lineup, Sean.
Like I said, yeah, Maeda's got a knock, so we could be seeing Abada starting. And look, he might have started anyway for tactical reasons, and I reckon Giakoumakis gets a sniff here. Welsh, depends what the illness was that he had that kept him out. I could well see Moritz Jens keeping his place, and then it's just a question of whether Hatate comes back in for Turnbull or not, but I don't think so. Yeah, I reckon Abada starts, Giakoumakis starts, and other than that, same as started at the weekend.
What do you reckon, Liam?
Yeah, pretty much same team as the weekend. Only possible changes are, like you say, Abada coming in for Daisen, and does Hatate. I think if Hatate's fit, he plays, but we don't know what his situation is yet. We probably won't know until the press conference on Friday, I would imagine.
Yeah, I agree. I'd want Giakoumakis in. And yeah, that'll be the key one for me. But I'm just having a quick look here because in the comments, Michael Ross has put up latest news. Chelsea considering a move for Celtic fullback Josip Juranovic, according to reports. So I'm just checking that out now, seeing what them. Chelsea wants a Celtic player. It's will consider offers 15 million. So I'm just checking the source. Football website 90 Minute. Who are they?
Nah.
Clickbait shite.
Sounds like clickbait, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So clicking on that now anyway, so I'm going to give them the click they want.
Yeah. Who's Chelsea got?
Nothing website, let's be honest. Yeah, not worried about that. I think at the end of the season it'll happen, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a thing for me. I'm saying Maeda gets rested because we've copped a knock. Jota back on the left, Abada on the right. Giakoumakis up front. And then I'd go Turnbull. I'd put Kalmak. Then the question is, who do we go to? Is Hatate back or not? Or do we just go with,
Don't forget O'Reilly.
Yeah, I'm deliberately leaving him out for a reason. Because I don't want these pricks kicking lumps out of him for the full 90 minutes.
Mm.
If we've already got Hatate who's copped a knock, I don't want to be both Hatate and O'Reilly down.
No.
So I'm like, if we start Turnbull, give him 60 minutes and then go later on, bring O'Reilly on, that's what I'm thinking. But
we could do it as set pieces.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Who cares? I'm just over in Australia. Like I can do anything. All right. So no other comments here. We'll gone through all our topics already. It's a nice week with not too much going on here, but yeah, we'll just crack on and let everyone get back to their days. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate that. as we said earlier, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the Celtic Down Under podcast via your podcast app. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to that. Hit the notification bell when you subscribe so you get notifications when we go live each Wednesday. And hit the like button as well, because apparently it's something good for algorithms, so we'll get out there to more Celtic fans if you enjoy what we do. Other than that, we'll go to our final thoughts. So, Sean, what's your final thought?
I did the numbers on it, and if the very unlikely event, especially since I'm about to jinx it, but the very unlikely event that we go unbeaten in the league this season, the numbers will add up to 70 games unbeaten, which would be one more than the record set by Brendan Rodgers.
And now you've jinxed it.
But yeah, we're on 34 now, and if we go to the end of the league season without losing, that's 70, which would be one more than the 69 that Brendan Rodgers got.
Not bad at all. Liam?
Yeah, I would just like to say, Celtic, please sort out your international shipping. I've got my new shirts on here, and it was actually cheaper for my dad to walk into the shop, buy them for me, and then send them here to me than it would have been to order direct from Celtic. So sort it out, guys. Come on, it's you're doing your international fans a great disservice with what you're charging and the times that it takes. Because I also got the shirt about a week earlier than I did last year, on account of the not having to wait for Celtic to ship it out either. So, guys, you've got an international fan base. We are a worldwide club. Let's start acting like one in a commercial sense, please.
On that front, it ties in perfect to what I was going to say. We're a worldwide fan base. Celtic TV is absolute pish. Sort it out, Celtic. Like, it's not hard. Get it right. We shouldn't have... If we're paying for a service over here, we expect to be able to watch the whole games. Get it sorted. Make sure that the games are right. Make sure you get replays that you can watch. Make sure we get Colts games. Give us the women's games on there. Give us the ability to on demand. Set it up properly. It's a good money spinner for the club. Sort it out.
Some semblance of pre and post match analysis would be nice as well.
Yeah. Act like you actually care.
It's not like it's cheap.
You've got 60,000 people that can be there every second week in the home stadium. But you've got a massive supporter base in Ireland. You've got a massive supporter base in the US. You've got a massive supporter base all through Australia, New Zealand, all through Southeast Asia. There's supporters clubs everywhere. It's no excuse. Like, we all can't be there in that stadium. So you got to look up, not just look after the people in the stadium, look after us as well. Sort out your shit, Celtic, with Celtic TV, because there's such a massive revenue stream there. I would happily pay for it if it was decent. I know people who pay for it.
I pay for it. It's $331 for the year. So what's that in pounds? It's like
$550.
No, $330. So
Australian. I halve it then.
Yeah. So it'd be almost £200 the way it works out.
Yeah. So it's not cheap. So sort it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I will say something that's actually
I'm just reading that comment.
Dr. Celtic TV could make porn boring. There you go. That's the best way to end the podcast.
And I can damn them with faint praise by saying that they're actually better than they used to be, which is, and we all know what state they're in right now, so it's not exactly, they used to be even worse. They've been so bad so consistently for so long, it's getting a bit annoying, to be honest.
Yep.
Judging by the amount of trouble people have trying to find a stream if they're not subscribed to Celtic TV, it seems that they're spending a lot more money stopping people from watching Celtic TV than they are actually making sure subscribers can watch it.
Yeah, at some point in the first half on Sunday, they had the username jump to the middle.
I had the same thing.
Middle of the screen, and it was there forever. I was like, Jesus, man, like, just flash it up and take it off. Like, they were obviously just leaving it there while they were working their way through all the IP sites, like pulling them down.
Mm.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.